Good morning, everybody. It's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm up early because I'm getting ready to drive back up north. My son-in-law bought his boat and he wants to go fishing. And that's kind of where I've been because he hasn't got his fishing license yet. So I have it. I can fish. Being First Nations, I can fish up there without a license. So they want me on the boat and a pole in the water. I caught 2 pickerel the other day. Oh my God, it was good. We ate them that same night. So after I'm done talking to you, I'm going to hop into the shower. But anyway, last night I watched the Drunk Dirt Show. And I don't think I've been on in a couple days. But it's gotten beyond ridiculous. I have no idea why she did that video. Wow, Cindy. Whoever is calling on Drunk Dirt and the unknown caller, I have something that I would like to say to them. Thank you. I would have something that I would like to say to everybody, which is, why in the hell is Marty not blocking that unknown caller? It's been going on for quite a while. What, a year? That the unknown caller has been calling Marty, maybe more. And Marty doesn't block that person. Now, I don't know about you, but I would have long blocked that person by now. So, see, when I watch that show, that's the big question I have to ask myself. Why not just block them if they're calling you? It's as simple as that. Obviously, Marty doesn't want to, or something else is going on. And why wouldn't Marty want to? They're talking shit. If according to Dar, they're talking shit about his wife that he loves, and it bothers her that much, why is Marty continuing with it? That's a big question. And the other thing I watched when I watched that show was whoever that user person was, that was the only person in there telling the truth. The rest, like Robin saying she had been gone all day. No, that's not true. The people in there that were talking to her. I mean, Dar's in there talking, screaming and yelling and gossiping and talking shit. And you got someone in there that's talking about baking? Come on. It's all crap. And by the way, Audrey, a while back, I averaged out how many times I averaged it. So I went back a few months, and I'm sure I didn't get all of it. But do you realize that you are on YouTube, either putting out videos or leaving comments upwards of 27 times a day? You have an addiction. And I've seen you in the comment section say, you don't like liars. You are the biggest liar of all, and everybody knows it. And so is Dar. So the show that you like to cock block everybody from speaking on, and according to you, it's because you don't like liars. And yet that woman comes on and it's the only thing she uses her channel for is to lie. She never tells the truth about anything. And something I want to say to Drunk Dur. You know, Drunk Dur, a long time ago when I looked at that picture of your mother standing on the porch, I think she might have been in her late teens, in a pair of bobby socks and this little cracker house. The first thing that went through my mind is, oh my God, she looks First Nations. Like, you know how if you, like you can tell a Nordic person sometimes, not always, but speaking in general. And you can look at Audrey and tell that she's Dutch, but she didn't get the good Dutch gene. You know, people have a look about them of their ethnicity. I don't have that. I don't look like my mother. But when I seen that picture of her, I was like, oh my gosh, that woman looks like she could be First Nations. And because I'm not a racist, I know that Darlene doesn't have to look like her mother to have Indigenous in her. So what I want to say about that is I looked at two other pictures, and those two other pictures of her mother just reconfirmed everything I thought about the original picture, that there was First Nations, possibly Indian, as you racist Americans like to call it, but First Nations blood in her. And that her mother could be First Nations. And then she announced yesterday that her mother was Canadian and from Quebec or Montreal. Well, Darlene, honey, if your mother was from Quebec or Montreal, number one, you're an immigrant. And number two is, you're First Nations. You got First Nations blood in you. Quebec or Montreal is a mixture of, that's a very old area in Canada. And you got to go back to the trapper days when there was nothing here. They trapped. And that's when it was populated with mostly Indigenous people here. And the French people that came over, they mixed with the Indigenous people here. And there's a look they have about them. So if you're walking down the street, you know, in my hood, you're going to see the Scottish, Irish, you know, East Indian, Chinese, whatever. But if you go to Quebec and you're walking down the street, you're going to see a lot of what Dar's mother looks like. The light skin, but the jet black hair. The very, very fine features. The high cheekbones. So I'm not saying for sure, but I believe so. And I've been around First Nations people almost all my life. Which explains Dar's alcohol problem, the way she reacts on when she's drinking. See, back in the 1970s, many Indigenous people, like, they can't handle alcohol. Luckily for me, that gene was not passed down to me. But I have sisters and brothers that cannot drink because it affects them in a very bad way. And Darlene, it's pretty obvious that you cannot drink a beer. You have to drink till there's nothing left. That's an alcoholic. So because of that, there have been a lot of studies done on First Nations people, Indigenous people, and alcohol. And come to find out that, I guess the best way to say it to anybody without getting really technical is there's First Nations people have only been drinking for about 400 years. Whereas people from Europe, white people, Dutch people, Scotch people, whatever, they've had it in their system for thousands. In their systems for thousands of years. And because of that, alcohol really messes up a First Nation person a lot more than it does a white person. And of course, you know, white people took full advantage of that. Well, see, the reason I know how Dar is when she gets drunk is because I've seen it. I've seen it on reserves. And Dar's identical to the way she drinks. To how because beer tastes different to her. She cannot stop on her own. It has to be taken away from her or she has to run out. And Dar, you should look into that because it's a thing, it's real, and it could very well possibly be why you're such a drunk. Due to your genetics from your mother. That has been passed down to you. They call it the alcohol gene. And it's real. Scientists can actually find it in your DNA. Now these days when you go to reserves, it's not nothing like it was in the 70s, growing up on reserve. Because of awareness. Keeping alcohol off the reserves was a big thing. So, yeah. So maybe you could look that up, Dar. It might help you because nobody would want to live like you. You don't love your life. And the other thing you talked about was content, having content. You said you don't have any. Well, you live in Florida. Instead of coming on and, well, I live in Florida and everybody's jealous. Why don't you talk about Florida like talk about the Keys? Talk about Hemingway, Key Largo, Margaritaville. Talk about Sugar Island in the Keys, where after Abe Lincoln freed the slaves, the slave ships en route just dumped it because they knew once they got to port, they weren't going to make any money off their cargo. They just dropped a bunch of slaves off, African Americans, or slaves off at Sugar Island. And those slaves found a way to change the soil to grow certain produce, yams and things like that. And it wasn't very long. They took that island, and it was what they were growing off that island was feeding people all the way up to New York City. You could talk about that. You could talk about Flagler, the guy who built the, the railway tracks down to the Keys, and the difference between Palm and West Palm, where Flagler built his first hotel and how West Palm was built. The houses in West Palm were built to house the workers. Palm Beach has always been the same. After Flagler built the railroad tracks, he built a big hotel. And that big hotel brought the wealthy down from up north. And they started building mansions. That's how Meriwether Post that's why Meriwether Post chose to build down there, is because how beautiful it was. Flagler was down there already, and that's how Malargo got there, and that's where the President of the United States is. There's so many cool stuff that you know about Florida that you don't realize other people don't know. And instead of educating people about Florida and telling people about Florida, you get on there and go, "You're all jealous of me." Well, nobody's jealous of you, Darlene. It's 2026. Anybody can afford to live in Florida if they choose to. And by the way, if your mother is from Canada, you're an immigrant. Just letting you know, according to Trump. But anyway, Darlene, you are a lying, drunken bitch. And so is Audrey. Audrey is glued to the internet. Like I said, I think it was 25 or 27 times. Audrey is either posting or putting up videos. And those videos take at least half hour to make. And I don't care what time of night or day it is, Audrey is always on there, is listening. It's because Audrey does nothing except sit on the internet. Everywhere she goes, takes her phone. And for some reason, you bitches think you have a right to know about my personal life, but yet you don't want to tell anybody about yours. All of you are too afraid to show your fucking faces. Well, Audrey is. Now I'm going to talk about June here. Because, oh my God, in 24 hours, those bitches all went wild. June, you've got a pattern. What you do is you lie, and you're, what would be the word for it? Well, I'll just go ahead and start talking about it. The first time you came out and did a live video was, of course, I've already told everybody about it because you take everything down, is when you were in a hospital bed and pretending that you had come across some article on me, on my father, and that he was a pedophile and all that shit. And I easily put up a couple pictures of my father, about 25 years difference, in one at a dance, a barn dance, dancing with me, and another one holding one of my children. When I was very young at the barn dance, and then holding my children. Then didn't hear from you for a while. And then you got involved in that group of trolls with Audrey and Dar and all them. And you were all on Messenger yakking back and forth, and you were having one of your episodes, and you thought, I'm going to get on there and get some attention from these girls. And you did it. You convinced those women that you were going to unalive yourself. And as a result, Audrey stuck her nose in and called a wellness check on you. And that wasn't your intention. Your intention wasn't to be disturbed at your home or embarrassed by having the cops pull up in your neighborhood. Your intention was just to get attention from these women that night. So you got mad. You came on and did a live. Except in that live, you had your teeth in. You were sitting up straight. And you were all together. You were acting like a normal human being. And your exact words were, you thought you were going to get the best of me by calling a welfare check on me, Robin? Well, I will tell you, you're not. Someone like you isn't going to get the best of me. Now, I'm not saying what Robin did was wrong. It wasn't. I understand what Robin did. But frankly, I would have known what she was doing to begin with. And then you come out with this video now where you're back to being poor, pitiful June. Look at me. Feel sorry for me. Why would I feel sorry for you, June? You're being taken care of by the government. You're fortunate enough to be subsidized by Cancer Society, and then you're being taken care of by your family. You have been manipulating people for a very long time and lying for a very long time. And there's a pattern in your videos now. And how many channels have you put up and taken down, and videos you put up and taken down? And I had to laugh. How did you start that video? Oh, in the beginning of that video. What did you say there? I guess I let Cindy get to me. That's an absolute lie. You spent the last 6 months taking my content, talking over it, making it out to be something it's not. You have put a bunch of AI, put my head, distorted picture of me of my head on your fucking body. And you've been doing this almost on the daily. All I did was write one story, and that threw you over the edge. And by the way, for anybody that wants to read that story, it's called A Good Christian Cautionary Tale About a Good Christian Woman Troll. It's on my post page or whatever, community page. And that was enough to just send June over the edge. You know, Darlene is never going to get her subscribers that she wants. Because the only reason anybody listens to her is because she's a freak. And Robin, all you do is get on there and lie for her. At this point, everybody knows that people in her channel are either on the spectrum or fake avatars. To me, it's done. It's over with. I don't care what any of you bitches think of me. I don't in real life, and I sure as hell don't on YouTube. I've had how many channels taken down, and I've still got at least double the subs that you have. There's nothing about YouTube where I haven't whipped your asses. And it's summer, and it's beautiful. You women like to drop the word narcissist all the time. You're not narcissists. You're nihilists. You don't want anybody that you like to be on YouTube. You want to control what they say, what they do, what they put out. You can't just ignore it. You can't just comment about it. No, you want to take them off the platform altogether. And I will never match that because I don't have the time, nor do I, when I get off here today, will I mention you bitches at all. I can tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the next hour and a half driving up north. Wake my family up, and if he's already not awake, we're going to put the boat in the water, and we're going to go fish. So Audrey, instead of pretending to everybody that you have this active life in nature, why don't you actually really do it? You've got a really good opportunity to enjoy your life, to experience what it's like to live on a lake. Well, close to it anyway. And yet here you are, 24/7 on YouTube. Well, have a nice day, old bitches. I gotta get going. Bye now.